Hey everybody, welcome to Trucking Story 13. It's Bob Trucker here. So let's take a look at where we're at. We're at level 16, obviously, almost 30,000 XP at this point. And so looking at the job market, a little bit more interesting as far as choices from the other day. We've got this important delivery of lumber. We've got this urgent and high value crawler tractor. We've also got really this hazmat nitrocellulose, but the only adjustment or area that gives us any bonus is fragile. So while it has a lot of symbols on it, but here our favorite boat that is both fragile, urgent, and high value. Now, while it's a couple 100 miles shorter, we've learned over time that once again, these are the highest paying jobs available, and really the crawler tractor would have been our next one, which would have been heavy and would have been significantly slower again. So we're going to go ahead and take this job from Washington and Port Angeles down to Socorro, New Mexico. Once again, traveling a similar path to what we've been doing for quite a while, which we've said would really become kind of the norm, and so we're certainly into that repetition here. So as we wait for this to load, I think that's, I don't know if that's the Hoover Dam, but it's a dam nonetheless. So we've got a little bit of load. It looks like we're standing in water, which we're not, but I'm guessing because we're on the waterfront, just the way it rendered, because obviously we have water in front of us.
Time to get the job done.
All right, let's turn this on. Change our front. Yeah, we're going to leave the mirrors on. So this is an international truck. Turn the running lights on, and it's 2:49 p.m. So we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of a run at this point. We've got some windows on the side, probably the same boat style as we usually have, but don't know that I've noticed that. Maybe it's just the daylight and so forth. So we do have obviously an area we've not left from because it was not discovered until we moved. So sea horizon, and this is a regular drop off here. Lots of logs, so we're up here in lumber country in Wisconsin, Washington. But we have discovered Port Angeles. Yeah, we've got enough gas, even though we have gas and a rest over there. We have enough gas at this point, given that we're going to stop in about 5 to 6 hours, that we don't need to worry about it. So we'll just get moving. So the big news, I guess, game related in the fact that it will affect the game, is I have gone ahead and decided to get a new computer so that I can better enjoy things like this, and just frankly because, whoops, we're going to have to stop there. We're going to get a red light violation right away. As I said, my existing computer's older. I bought it in 2011, so it's about 10 years old at this point. So certainly I've run this for quite some time and just decided we were at a position right now that was able to go ahead and kind of make that splurge, even though this is still working. We'll repurpose this machine for other things in our home, and but I'll have a higher end gaming machine with much higher end graphics card and memory processing chip and so forth, although the processing isn't necessarily jumping that high. It's got a lot more cores, but the gigahertz speed that it operates at is, on paper, not necessarily that much faster. But I don't know that the processor is necessarily the issue as much as the graphics setup. So, and we're going to get stopped again over here by the Yummy restaurant. Yeah, some of the things are fun. So we're still about a month away from me getting that new machine. So we're still probably looking at 4 episodes or so on the existing hardware. But good news is we'll be able to experiment and see what things look like and what we can do, and I would assume we can run things fully maxed out once I do that, and hopefully eliminate some of the strange hiccups we've had in places around, for example, Boise and so forth, with the jitter and the delay where things just aren't loading appropriately. So yeah, just because, it is something I enjoy, makes a lot of sense just from the standpoint of certainly gotten my money's worth out of this machine. So I was able to go ahead and decide we would make that purchase. So that is something happening that's going to affect the game, or the series here, because we'll be in a better position to hopefully ignore some of the hardware-induced challenges that we run into here. So nice fields off to the right. Don't know what they grow up here in Washington. I can't imagine the growing season is anywhere like it is on the Great Plains or anything, so I couldn't even begin to guess what kind of crop that might be.
Keep right.
So yeah, this is where, and we've just not had any need, but this is where the ferry is, and honestly, I don't know that the direction ever takes us onto the ferry from a shortness standpoint. I think, again, certainly at some point in the future, once they expand quite a bit, because I was really thinking like maybe once Montana is added in, there may be some of that, and certainly once again, just going that way, it may drive us there. Now again, if we would still be in the position of just trying to maximize run length to maximize XP, I'm not sure that it would still ever go that way. We'd probably need the Dakotas and so forth in the game as well before we'd finally start having trip lengths that were the ones we'd select. But just like anything complicated when you're expanding maps and this and that, kind of knowing what is coming, and that they've already announced Wyoming and they've already told us Texas is being worked on. I kind of hesitated to say next because, once again, there's a possibility that there will be Wyoming and another state released before Texas is actually released. But it's there, so the point is it will be in the map at some point, and as you start expanding other areas, even if you start going across the northern side of the United States and heading further east, and theoretically then starting to hit these 15, 16, 1700 mile trips, once you have Texas, which expands the southeast, us to the southeast a little more, we may be able to be breaking 2,000 miles going from here to somewhere in Texas, say all the way in East Texas, and so it still might not rise to the same point where I would take it. So it's a long way of saying it's unlikely that the game is going to recognize or recommend the ferry to us anytime soon. Alright, so in another news from SCS, this is also the weekend. It's the first weekend in April of 2021 that I'm doing this video and recording this. On Euro Truck Simulator, they've just announced a release date for the Iberian expansion, which is the Spain and Portugal region, I believe, and so that community is really excited. Seeing the trailer for it definitely looks really nice, and Europe's definitely a different animal, as those of you who live there would certainly be able to tell us. And some new road discovery. So once again, a direction we've not come from here. So that's nice. And then another segment here. So just continue to get little short distances, which is wonderful. I better slow down, both for the fact that I have a car, and that turn I think is a little bit more treacherous than I thought, even though I'm not that heavy. Again, I'm not looking to be a problem with boats and so forth, so let's see. So I think we can speed up our cruise once more. Again, that's relatively challenging in an international rig to see, but it's in the bottom right corner of our display there under the... I guess I can change that so I can more clearly see the miles per hour instead of having the international logo up there, which doesn't really do anything for me. It's kind of like buying a product from the store and having the sticker that kind of pretends that it's there showing. Alright, so another exit here that we've never taken in as Bob Trucker. Everybody's kind of going slow. I'll be good instead of diving down onto the shoulder to maintain my momentum, although here I'm not going to be good because he's slowing down way too much and I'm not that generous. But yeah, I'm a much lighter load, so kind of accelerating again after having to slow down is less than had we taken that crawler tractor, for example, which would have taken us minutes probably to get back up to speed. So yeah, I must say I am a little fascinated with the amount of new discoverable road we're getting here. So we clearly have never gone this way from here for, at this point, quite a bit, because we took off again, I think, like just before 3 in the afternoon, so we've been on the road for 2.5 hours, so a significant amount of travel already, and we continue to find new road here. So in the grand scheme of things, given once again the amount of road we've got, it's probably going to be hundredths of a percent. It's going to take us from like 25.62 to 25.66 or something for the amounts we're discovering on this trip, unless at the end we have a longer segment somewhere. So yeah, this kind of delay, hopefully, I'm hoping, will be a thing of the past with the updated hardware. So, goodness. This is not normally one that, going over a bridge that takes much. I saw that cliff kind of jump into the video, so perhaps it was having difficulty rendering the terrain, which I guess could be a little bit longer. I thought it was just dealing with shadows or something on the bridge, but alright. Longview, which is a big logging area in reality. So that's one of those that just for some variety or so forth, it may be worthwhile to jump off and discover, because we definitely would probably get a lot of options from there.
And then exit right.
And we're far enough up here that it might come out to be a worthwhile option. Alright, so we're heading to Vancouver. So again, we've come this way in the other direction. But not this way. So continue to get short little segments here and there that we're discovering. So curious how long that'll continue. So always fun to kind of get new things in the game, just for completeness. Exit 1. So right at the border, obviously, first exit. Or last exit, depending on which way we're going. Again, I think Vancouver's actually in Washington, so I'm thinking that actually is, yes, the last exit before we then traverse into Oregon. So we're already coming up on that position, although I believe this...
And then exit right.
I was going to say, this segment, I think, takes us a little east-west.
Exit right.
So, alright.
Keep right.
Not sure. Yeah, okay. It's not obviously going to have us go back to Seattle, which makes sense. I think it won't let us either. Yeah, there you go. You've got the arrows that basically are the invisible wall that wouldn't let us go that way. But we've got a truck coming up over there. Wow, we almost hit him. He cut over. We kind of drifted a bit more than I thought as I was kind of looking in the mirror and trying to position myself. That almost turned into a violation. So yeah, we might actually be getting quite a bit of discoverable here on the road, which is interesting. Nice bridge over the water. A little quiet. I think that's the air brake that we're hearing back there. Might be the engine brake, but alright, so the exit to the Portland airport. So coming up on Portland here, which I know for certain is in Oregon. And then we'll just keep heading on down to New Mexico and get this boat delivered. So I want to say this might be the third boat that Bob Trucker's taken down. So definitely a popular commodity to be hauled from Washington State down to the deserts, where there aren't that many lakes, but hey, there's still some, and they need a few boats. So looks like it's going to take us toward the Dales, because yeah, we don't want to go to Portland. So I think we can just continue at speed on this. It's a full regular interstate. I didn't see any curve signs or anything like that. Alright, so another hour, and we might start entertaining stopping. Although this, in hindsight, might have actually not been too bad. I have a clear place to stop, and almost 7, so it would have been not a bad time. So yeah, actually maybe we'll just start looking, because I'm not sure that we've got that many options heading this way. I'd rather not have to press on too late into the night and then kind of shift things a bit. But on the flip side, we don't want to be late. So yeah, we've got a tunnel on this side, which we don't have going the other way. Obviously, the road is out in the open, heading in the other direction. But and there's a bridge. Oh, first way station opportunity. And they want to see how heavy we are and make sure we're not damaging the road. All those other things they check. So our famous leaving the interstate undiscovered while we go in the way station, meaning we need at least one other trip to fully discover this segment here. That's assuming we don't get pulled into a way station every single time we go this way, which I just really don't like. This is, unfortunately still the same thing with the new lighting system that doesn't look that dark outside. But we got a headlight violation, as you saw and heard. So we get to deal with that, whether we like it or not, because obviously they just took the money from us. But just a bit of an irritation in that, I understand. So it's just going to take a little bit of getting used to that. At certain times, I just have to remember to turn the lights on, and I suppose one of the easiest things would be just always leave them on. Don't worry about turning them off during the day, but once again, just trying to be a little realistic. I'm like, at noon, it's going to be pretty rare for a trucker to be running with their headlights on, so I'd normally turn it off during the day. Let's see, I'm moving over, but now I'm wondering, I think I'm going to go ahead and pull off here and rest and fuel. I don't want to keep assuming I'm going to find things and then don't, and then I'll be only having myself to blame. And once again, it's not as if we've found this on our own or discovered this before, so we're getting new areas. Let's make sure we're clear, and then we'll
turn left.
City Center, and then the Columbus Highway down. Looks like we're going to go downhill a bit. Just swing a little wide in case someone's coming up the hill and we don't see them. Yeah, this would, it's relatively easy with what we've got as our cargo here to get into anywhere, but yeah, if we had like the crawler tractor and stuff, this gas station would definitely be an event. Alright, turn off the engine. And we'll fuel up here, and then I'm trying to figure out where was the rest? Was it just further? Oh, it's behind us. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and then circle this way, because trying to do it in the parking lot, I think, is just going to be a disaster. Oh, goodness. There's enough traffic here. We're going to be here a little while. I guess I should turn my light on. Oh, it looks like we've got a bit of probably a view. Well, it might not be a viewpoint. I guess there's something in town there that. So this is going to be a bit of a trick not to hang up on anything here. But we'll see. And then I'm not sure if it's going to have us like re-enter where we exited, which we clearly can. Oh, this is just like a dirt parking area. I was going to say, where are you going to make us go? definitely took a little bit of a bit to respond there, because I'm like, I hit the key to rest and it's not doing anything, but just it's taking its own sweet time for some reason. Alright, let's slowly take this so that in case we don't have the room, we can avoid damaging the trailer. I guess we'll take a look at the map because it's not telling us turn left or right, so I'm not quite sure which way it would like us to go at this point. So, taking a little bit of time here to bring up that navigation. There we go. Goodness. Yeah, it's going to be one of these things that I'll notice as I go along now in the excitement to try to, yeah, I'm wondering. Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll discover. I'm pretty sure that's a recruiting location, but I'll go ahead and circle around and then probably come back up here to get back on. But we'll go ahead and take advantage of that. So yeah, sometimes we've got to flip around quite a bit in our view, obviously to make sure that we're making a safe entry to the road, as opposed to turning and doing a head-on collision with somebody. So yeah, because initially I was like, oh, I'll just cut over and then I'll continue heading in that direction, but it doesn't look like we're going to discover that point until we pass through the intersection, at which point I'm, having to then go around, and I'm like, I might as well then just head back up here. So. U-Haul? Yeah, U-Haul. Oh, just a new viewpoint. Okay, well, in that case, since we've discovered it, I'm just going to...
Go straight on.
Well, I'll do what I said I was going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and turn, and we'll go, because we haven't done a viewpoint in this series. We keep talking about them, but this will give us an opportunity to kind of see one of those, and we've kind of already taken the time to commit. So it looks like we're in front of this little diner here. Turn us off. And then we'll activate the viewpoint. So what have we got? The Dales City. So let's see what we've got here. A little minivan going by our boat. We've got a 3-axle trailer there. I don't know that I realized that, so definitely pretty interesting. A little old church in town. City bus. Guess there were quite a bit of roads here, so this isn't that small of a city. I can hear a train somewhere. What is that? Clock tower. Can't make out that last word. Clock Tower Ales? I don't know, maybe that's the name of the bar. Ooh, got there a lot of trash out by the street. That's not a great part of town, I guess. Got the silos or the mill there. Moonshine Mill Winery. Oh, there's new construction going on. Obviously, we've got a tower crane, so they'll be building something substantial there. But this is the location. I'm trying to remember. I think Oregon is one of the, I think it was New Mexico and Oregon that got the new viewpoints. So this may actually be something that was provided in the 1.4 upgrade. So there we are, and I think that's going to end us. It is. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed that little distraction here in the Dales. Get to see what this area looks like a little bit. So the viewpoints are nice because, they give you that flavor of where you're at.
Get ready to turn left.
And again, whether you're from the U.S. or even if you are, you may have never been up in this area, or got a bunch of trucks parked out there. It's almost like a dealer, but we don't have a option for that. So yeah, I think it still wants to take us the way we were going, but at this point I'm going my own way, and I'm just going to get back on where we were, because I think we'll have more lights and other things going the other way, so I think this will just be a little smoother. Get a nice little trip here along the road. We can see what we've got up here as a potential delivery point. Is it a Home Depot? Not quite sure what I'm seeing there. Might be. Whoa! Ah! Tight turn, and I did not make it. Darn it. Oh well. So much for a smooth trip, but I was going to say, I think we're, no damage. We were going slow enough, but damage to the wallet.
And then turn left. Turn left.
We deliver. So yeah, but as I was saying, that cloud bank's pretty nice up there. The the viewpoints are nice. Whether you're not from the U.S. at all, just kind of want to see the different areas, or if you are from the U.S. and it's just new to you, it just adds some variety. And so you can see now it's purple, which shows we've not only discovered it, but we've actually activated it, which, unless they've added new achievements or anything, really doesn't do much other than just the satisfaction of having completed everything. So again, we've got this little segment of discovery on this side of the road that we're going to hit now, and then we'll continue on and see where we get. But 6:30 in the morning on a Friday, I think we're going to end up at best delivering on a Saturday. I guess let's take a look. They're expecting us by Sunday afternoon at a minimum. So this gives us, just obviously we're looking for things to talk about as we go on these longer roads. You can see the expected time. The window's really, an hour and a half. So it's a real tight window, where as you start getting close to that delivery, there's little margin for error. Now again, you can see the remains above the yellow next rest stop where our hours of service run out in 13 and a half hours or so. But, we got 55 hours. But if we start, due to rest and so forth, running into issues, that's one of the things you have on an urgent delivery, is that window is really tight. I think once I've had an issue where I've just honestly had a hard time getting there, but I do think that was created. Once again, I think I had mentioned this earlier, on my own, where I had taken 2 rest stops in a row, so basically burned 20 hours immediately just trying to run in daylight, and then I think I was like half an hour late or something, but it cost me over 10% of my XP and cash, so I've learned to not make that mistake again. So like I said, it happened once. But if you have an important delivery, that window gets larger, and certainly for a standard delivery, I wouldn't say it's half the day. I wouldn't say you have a 12-hour window, but it's a pretty significant margin of time, and we would have seen those like in the first videos where we weren't able to do any JIT type deliveries. But I think it's like a 6-hour window or something, like basically all afternoon into the evening, or from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. or something that you can deliver. So we're good here with that. We're going to make a little under 60,000 for delivering the boat, plus the multipliers and so forth. So, alright, so let's switch back, because I was going to say it looks like, yes, the speed limit has finally increased a bit, so we'll be able to crank ourselves up a tiny bit here, and then keep moving along. More undiscovered road. So this is actually a good run for getting a good segment of new road, which is nice, and also indicates that, you know, while we've come this way, we just haven't come this way in this direction, and it's just let's just kind of complete that out and keep going. So rest area coming up here. A few trucks in there, it looks like, just right there by the power lines. I suppose a rest is a rest. It can't always be scenic. Yeah, the way the lights on that car, they almost look like he's riding his brake, but he just may have his lights on. You know, just with the pickup up front not having something similar doesn't mean that the AI can't be set up that one driver decides to keep the lights on, the other doesn't. But I'm just like, you know, it's hard to tell if he's doing anything, because without knowing the configuration of his lights, I don't know if there's another set of brake lights, or is that just his brake lights? So who knows? Alright, so we're coming up on Pendleton, which again is that stretch of winding road through the pass there. I don't know that we really have enough to truly call it mountains, but obviously we do go up and down enough, and so I don't know what the real range in this area of the country is, if there's a segment of the Rockies that we're hitting, or what it is up at this point. Those brake lights, or I just see a lot of blinking. I think it's just a poor merge from an entrance ramp again that we were seeing the dissipation of, because yeah, you've got two cars, a bus, so yeah, I think they were just slowing down and letting each other on, and all in all doing a terrible job with the AI. I was going to say, I thought that was a PT Cruiser, but that looks like just an SUV. I'm not quite sure I can place what that is. I'll guess it's a Jeep, but not sure. Oh, now he's going to speed up, and now he's going to hit his brakes. Fun. Can't really tell if anybody's behind us wishing us to move over, but I'm certainly not going to go behind him yet, because my guess is as soon as I do that, he's going to slow down, and then I'm going to start cursing him and want to be back in the left lane. Now, we are entering this area after Pendleton here, so I may move over, although as I say that, now I'm coming up on him because we've got a little bit yet before we're fully there, so we'll see. I thought there was an exit coming up, but now this is just the split of the road. I'm like, maybe he'll get off here and I won't have to worry about him. He'll probably move over to the right. There we go. And we're going to slow down here, because once again we've got this wonderful set of easy curves, yeah, as I say extremely sarcastically. So this is definitely one of the most difficult sections of road that I've run across, certainly on the interstate, hands down on the interstate. Now there are, I think, some roads through Colorado that are, you know, 2-lane roads or things like that certainly are a little more treacherous, but for an interstate, this is definitely the segment that always makes it interesting. got that little box truck coming up here. And yeah, it's one of those that you're kind of turning, you can't really tell in your mirror who's there. And so I end up taking a lot of chances, like hoping that the AI hasn't suddenly come up on me, because I'm clearly using, whoa, even though I was just, I guess I have sped up going downhill, probably because I don't have a retarder on this truck. I'm going 45, but I must have either that or I misjudged what I was setting the cruise at, and I actually do have it set at 50. I don't know. Can't tell now. The wheel turned. I'm completely blocking the view, and I'm certainly not going to play things. Yeah, I think I'm actually set to 50, but either way, we've survived. 60, 65, 70. Just counting as I hit my cruise acceleration to make sure I'm getting to the right place. So there we go. We've put that behind us for this haul, and we'll keep moving. Coming up on 9 a.m. A little bit of the rumble strip. I guess I'm drifting a little too far to the left, but once again, I don't want to clip him in the right lane and get another violation for clipping a vehicle. So yeah, the one thing I hadn't seen, I guess it's really the map that is going to give me how much time I have. Because yeah, this isn't telling me what my time to arrival is. I'm like 100% certain we're going to have to stop again at some point tonight. And then, we hopefully will deliver. It's always interesting when we're taking off that late and we really only drove for, maybe about 5 hours at best yesterday. So there's a possibility we might have to rest twice and then deliver Sunday morning. Would probably be what would happen there, because we probably just have a handful of hours left if we do have to do that. But, well, as things get closer and we start seeing how things are shaking out where we're at tonight, that'll become a little clearer. Yeah, this is still all these S-curves here with the traffic definitely make it a bit of a challenge from a driving standpoint to try to not hit the wall, not hit the traffic. Once again, with a real rig, it might be tempting. It would certainly be more, hey, let's slow down and so forth. All right, we don't have to pull in here. And I think at this point, yeah, because we've gone this way, but we actually now have not discovered that segment of road in the way station. We've always been told to just keep on moving as we've come through here. So I'm sure eventually these folks in Oregon will be like, yeah, we want to check you out here at this place. But not yet. And yeah, at this point, obviously, we have gotten onto roads now that we've actually traveled in both directions previously. So it looks like our segment of discovering new pieces of road has ended, at least for a while. Again, probably not to surface again until we get near our destination in Socorro. I think that's an old Cadillac with like the back end vinyl. Yeah, that's definitely an old time look. 70s, if not 60s, but so yeah, I think I'm going to need to check in the next few weeks, and I may just wait until I get my new machine and kind of start getting that set up to see if the Jazzy Cat mods I'm using have been updated to take advantage of the lighting in 1.4. Once again, I don't know that we're going to notice a lot. And some of the challenge we'll have, just like anything, as we go forward with that and changing a machine, is because we'll be able to up the graphics, because things like that. It's like, is it simply because now I'm running on ultra graphics that things look better, or is it because of a mod? So I may stagger them a little bit just to kind of get the visibility on that, and maybe keep running things the way they are. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking out loud, which obviously makes the conversation even a little more disjointed, or the dialogue that I'm giving you here, because my thought is, well, I'm going to have to download the mods fresh on that new equipment anyway. So if I'm taking the time to download, why would I download an old one knowing that I'm just going to go download the new one? So, and in the end, I don't know that anyone really cares that much of, was it the mods or was it the graphics. I think as long as you understand, hey, this is what I'm running on, and this is what you're seeing the game being played on, that will help you make a determination of, is the configuration I'm looking at what you want. So yeah, what I've gone ahead and ordered is I took a look at both the Alienware, which is kind of the high-end gaming platform for Dell, and they also have what they call the G series, which is the gaming series, which is in theory a little bit more of a entry level, so forth. But comparing the specs, really, the Alienware is really more useful if you're planning on overclocking your hardware, which ATS certainly gives you no reason to do that. From a CPU standpoint, it's at this point, with what the standard hardware is, very minimal in requirements. I mean, it's not taxing at all. It's more the first-person shooters and things like that have a lot of quick motion and a lot of activity going on that I think require or would tempt someone to be overclocking. And so because of that overclocking likelihood for a high-end gamer, there's some liquid cooling options that basically come standard in the Alienware, but as you might expect, obviously make their base price higher. So, and there were a couple things where you have like the latest hardware available. So I think as I was looking at it, the 11th generation Intel chip versus the 10th generation, which is what I'm getting, is available in one of the newest Alienware configurations, the R12. But the clock speed and so forth are literally the same. So it's one of those, like, all right, in theory, they've probably made a few improvements in the circuits and so forth, but given that I'm not looking to squeeze blood out of the turnip in performance, as I really looked at it, it didn't make the most sense. It would have cost hundreds of dollars more for a slightly poorer configuration as far as what I'd have available in the box in general, because it did, the Alienware did offer, once again, some very cutting edge graphics cards that had even more than the 8 gig of memory that is coming on the card that I'm getting with the system I'm getting. And that card was available in the Alienware too. It was just kind of just below the middle area, and they had I think 2 or 3 options higher that I just don't have available. And in talking to the individual on the ordering line with Dell, that comes down to basically the fact that once again the G series doesn't have the liquid cooling, and at that point you're starting to run pretty hot when you're adding in those graphics cards that run at a higher rate and therefore generate more heat and so forth. So and as if you've ever shopped for any kind of electronics, when you're kind of pushing that envelope, you know that getting that extra ounce sometimes costs you 25% more just to nurse that little bit out. So the cost benefit definitely went down pretty quickly, because I think if I had gone up like 2 steps in graphics card, I would have gotten a good amount of RAM. I think it would have gone from 8 gig to 12. But once again, like ATS, I think requires and recommends like 2 or 4. So I think the minimum type of, I think the minimum is lower than that, and the recommended, I think, I don't know, it's 2 or 4. I just know it's not anywhere near the 8 that I'm even getting. And so once again, paying for something that would have added, I think, like $450 just for the graphic card upgrade, really didn't seem to make a lot of sense in my mind for really what I'm doing with the system, which at this point my intent is the most complicated thing I'm going to be running on it is this. So and the folks at SCS have done a great job of not requiring insane amounts of hardware. So, but the other benefit of getting the newer machine is that I'm a little future-proofed, at least, because at this point it's not as if I'm buying a average setup. I definitely kind of pushed things certainly a little above the norm. I mean, on the chipset and so forth, the CPU, it's definitely the top end. Graphics card is maxed in the configuration I can get. So there were things I could have done to save money and go to a slightly slower graphics card or less memory, but I opted to stick with the NVIDIA 3070 is what's on that machine with 8 gig, and that'll give me room to expand, like if and when SCS finally says, we've held the requirements down really low for a decade, but now we're going to take a little bit of a step up. I can't imagine the step up they're going to take is suddenly going to jump from needing 2 gig of RAM on the video to needing 12 or something. So I should be okay. So that was kind of the thought. And then the other piece is obviously at this point, several episodes ago, we had the really horrendous lag time where we were stopping every 30 seconds and waiting 30 seconds. And I think that was related to some other things that I have on the machine setup that I currently have, and those things are going to stay on this machine, and I'm not going to reload them and place them on the new one. So that should also minimize the opportunity for conflict between the varying things the system's being asked to do, because really that one at this point will have more of a focus on kind of being the gaming platform, and certainly the day-to-day computer and so forth as well, but those things aren't being run at the same time, where there was some background process that operates on this machine for some other things that I've got going on. And It's just, I think that's what was causing the problem before. So there'll just be a lot of benefits of trying to have that opportunity to focus. And the blessing I've got there is this machine's still functional, it's usable for those purposes, and so therefore it's not as if I'm doing a replacement as I typically have in the past of, okay, the machine's really not operating for anything I need, and if I want to have a working computer, I need a new one. I'm not kind of waiting until this one has died to go ahead and make a change. So I'll be able to kind of set this up in a corner and let it do its thing that I need it to do, and put this in the location I'm at here, and then continue forward with, once again, I'm hoping a greatly improved experience. Not that this one is terrible. The graphics again, I'm always amazed with what they're able to do. Just at this point, as I've said, with 10-year-old hardware. And again, kind of, I guess, if I'm being fully honest in the assessment, I'm not quite sure the graphics card that is operating is 10-year-old hardware, but while it did give me the ability to really kind of go from medium to high, because I ran the game for a couple weeks, if not a couple months, before I decided, hey, let me see if this other graphics card that I've got sitting in storage will work with this configuration, because I think the onboard graphics processor was 1 gig, and then the card I put in is 2, so it obviously doubled my video RAM, and consequently allowed me to step up a bit. But once again, it's not like it suddenly let me run everything maxed out, which is what I'm expecting I should be able to do with the new hardware that's coming in about a month. So looking forward to that. Hope you're looking forward to that too, because some of what we've just been again experiencing as I've been talking with these hesitations, I'm hoping will be a thing of the past, and that we'll have everything be completely smooth as butter, and we can go from there. Alright, so we have in the interim traversed into Idaho. I realize I saw a sign for Pocatello. Did we really get through Boise already while we were talking? Somehow I'm not sure. I guess we did, because now this is telling us about Ogden. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess. So
Keep right, and then exit right.
2:30. Alright, so we are going to just take this,
Exit right.
pending this traffic, because it is slowing down, but I'm going to not slow down is my intent here. And we'll see, I'm sure we'll be asked to go in the way station, because we almost always are on this one. But let's see. Wow. Alright. So we'll juice the cruise control a bit. Speed's risen yet again. I think it actually has been higher for a little while. I just didn't notice it while I was chatting. But get us up to 75. Ooh, Challenger or Charger. I'm not always able to tell the difference. Yeah, that's a thing with the AI too. Like, they'll pull into the right lane and then they'll brake, they'll slow down, which I understand. Like, you wanted to pass, but it's like if you then slow down and then I have to pass you, it happens in real life too. And I'm sure to some degree they want to not just create the situation where you're just never having to pass anybody, you're never having any challenge, and then the traffic just becomes background noise as opposed to something that actually affects what you need to do in the game. So I'm sure there's some logic there of, we don't want the AI being significantly different in speed. So, because that is the thing, if you may or may not have noticed, but like when I'm coming up to speed and I'm within traffic, you'll notice it's not as if the traffic is just constantly blowing by me because I'm going 40 and we're on an interstate that can go 70. They seem to kind of keep things within the range of where you're moving, so that once again, I think there's just traffic that stays with you, traffic that you have to make decisions about and so forth is I think what the devs thought process was there. So, and I'd say it gives you a good mix, because we just had to pass those trucks. Obviously the Challenger, Charger, kind of nowhere to be seen. Maybe he pulled off in that rest area because this is an old school something or other. I couldn't tell you offhand from looking at it, other than it's from the 50s or the 60s. But if you think about it, at this point, it's always one of those wonderful things as you just move on with life and get older, and you realize when you were a kid and there were still cars from the 50s and 60s around, because I'm in my 50s myself at this point, and so I was born in the 70s, and so obviously seeing cars from the 60s, which at that point are just the previous few years, previous decade, are no different than today seeing cars 2015 or something, which is actually the year of the car I drive myself. It's certainly not unexpected, but when you're seeing a car from the 50s, it's kind of scary to think like it's a 70-year-old car at this point. Like, it's approaching the life expectancy of Americans in this country as a vehicle, which is pretty impressive. And it's almost like, it's actually even crazier than when once again in the 70s, and you're seeing people driving cars from the 30s. Well, those were only 40 some years old at that point, so not quite double, but it's getting close to being that. So it's a little nuts when it's like, it's from the 50s, and you kind of initially think, that's no big deal, but out here in 2021, it is. It's more impressive than it was 30 years ago, that's for sure. Alright, so that's the piece that kind of heads back north over our shoulder to Pocatello. So we're down in Utah, I believe, already. I think we've crossed the border, so we're going toward Ogden here, and then we'll be going through that segment again of Salt Lake, Provo, and then likely exiting around Price, or heading toward Price, because obviously Price is a little ways off the interstate, but the exit that takes us to Price, I'm pretty sure we're on that very familiar stretch of road at this point that we all know pretty well. And here we have another way station. So, wow. So we've had to get weighed once on this trip so far. Not bad. Oh, look at that. We finally do not have to go in, and we finally get to discover this little segment. Now we just need to do the same thing on the other side, and we'll have this section in Utah fully complete.
Keep left.
I will keep left. Yeah, I will say, it's one of those things, just like anytime things are going to change, and you're anticipating the changes for the better. Now when I get these hiccups, like before it was just kind of the cost of doing business. Like, I am playing this game, this is how this game operates for me. And it was just a thing that I lived with, that little stutter there, for example. And now that I know, hey, I'm likely not going to have to deal with that, it suddenly increases the irritation factor, similar to like when you've decided you're changing jobs and you've gone ahead and you're interviewing, and you haven't found that job yet, given your notice. You're not that close, but you're headed in that direction, and then suddenly all those things that maybe irked you a little bit or didn't irk you, but you just left a bad taste in your mouth at work, suddenly become like almost unbearable, and you just can't wait till they're done. I find myself now feeling that way, because really this is the first time I've played since I placed the order for the new hardware. So yeah, it definitely, like, obviously changes your expectation and your mindset. So part of the challenge of being rational human beings, I guess, you're always having that ability to think at that higher level and pick those things up. So anyway, I think that's all the philosophy we'll cover here with Bob Trucker today, before I just sound crazier than that. But so we'll see. But no, I definitely would not be honest if I wasn't saying I'm pretty excited about the possibility of running this game maxed out, and just really kind of putting behind all the concerns of what I've had to do, even to kind of sometimes avoid the problem we had. I think it was in episode 9 where we had just terrible recording issues, and it just certainly affected the video that you got, because quote unquote live series, which obviously I'm not doing any gameplay on this profile of any kind that's not being recorded and shared with you. You kind of deal with what comes, as we said at that point. As I was profusely apologizing because I just felt awful for what the viewing experience was going to have to be because of what was happening, but there was really no way to change that, short of just pulling the plug and saying, hey, I'm going to end this video here, I'm going to go play with the video, and we'll finish this run in like a B segment of this. But at that point, I think we were close enough that it was like, well, let's hope this goes away. And so I'm imagining those type of things also will hopefully be a thing of the past, where I don't have to determine, do I have to do things and jump through hoops with my system, such as resetting and rechecking, and I actually want to exit, so I guess I'm not gonna.
Right.
Oh boy, that guy. Hoi, that was not good. He exited, I exited. Complete miracle that I didn't either hit that guy, he didn't hit me, run into the back of me. That was just hideous. Looks like we're stopped. I don't want to rotate the camera, so. Light just turned green. Obviously, they just started moving. So yeah, since the traffic was giving me enough of a clue, I mean, obviously, otherwise, I probably would have taken a peek. But to avoid, again, the camera flying around on you in the video for very little reason, realized the cars were slowing down, so hey, we must have something happening. Yeah, I'll also be curious, because obviously 1.4 is generally newer, and but the blinking and so forth, we're seeing with the wires and the overhead lights and so forth, what that will look like with a little bit more horsepower on the system. I'm hopeful that it'll all just be completely seamless at that point. the frame rate will be higher and so forth. And we'll go from there, because yeah, right now I tend to get, in the mid-20s when I've looked at something that gives me a frame rate on the system while I'm running this. And that's, I think in areas like this, it probably drops into the upper teens, and I think that's why you're seeing, in essence, like we're almost stepping through the video in some cases, than just having it be completely smooth, as obviously it is in the real world. So, whoops, Trident's not moving. There's a car next to me. So talk again about it. See, and there we go. Like, he's intentionally, like, the AI makes it difficult. It's like not going to. Oh, I see. You're gonna let me in now since you decided to back off and let him in? Thank you. Alright, sadly Trident did not turn, so we're going to be behind him heading to Price and going through all that, which is going to be less than optimal for exactly what we're seeing here, because you can already tell I'm like having to lay off the gas because I'm lighter than him, so I'm able to accelerate significantly faster than he is. Be nice, like, if here it would let me pass, but I'm assuming we're going to be getting close to 60 by the time that happens. Oh boy. Well, the reality of being a trucker. Sometimes, you get stuck and you don't get to move as quick as you're able to move. Yeah, the one thing, and I don't know that I would really enjoy it that much anyway, is, because we have LA and larger cities. So, yeah, good news is, I guess, all right, we are only going 30, so we'll clearly get to pass him pretty easily here. All right, problem solved. As you don't have that, like, major city traffic, because that's really what was coming to mind, is it's almost like, yeah, if you're driving through Chicago or Atlanta here in the States, regardless of the time of day, there's just always so many vehicles on the road that you're very rarely able to get up to the speed limit because you're just moving with the pace of traffic. Oh, 37, so I guess, yeah, we're going to need to start looking for gas and a rest area. And yeah, we definitely will have stuff in Price, so I'm assuming that's where we're going to need to end up before we are able to continue. So yeah, I'm driving a little erratically on purpose to just get through this segment without slowing down. But I'm confusing the AI, obviously, or the GPS, because I'm crossing the center line and now it's rerouting me because it's thinking I'm doing something crazy. Another way station. Are we going to get past this one? I doubt it. That would be way too much. Yep. Alright. So, turn on our signal in case someone's behind us, so that they understand why we suddenly jammed on our brakes like maniacs. But yeah, I think I've been through this one. I think either way, like this one, say it didn't actually take my first press, which I think is what happened that one time when I then got flagged. Come on, back off. You see my turn signal. Alright, so Price is up there. Just need to see which entrance or exit gets me to both fuel and rest. There is a stop. Yeah, we'll go to next one here, and that gets us where we need to be, so that's good. And we'll get to not worry about this traffic. Why is this behaving this way again? Well, like I said, I don't know if it's that I'm hypersensitive to the fact that, I've finally decided to do something to stop having this experience, or if it is just having a bad day again, because, once again, it's, I overlooked something to get this thing ready today. I don't know. I don't think I did, but obviously the proof's in the pudding if I'm having challenges, so we'll see. But anyway.
Keep right.
So yeah, so we're basically halfway through Utah. So yeah, there is a distinct possibility that we are going to... Ooh, Taco Bell. You don't see a lot of these in the game, which is sad, because I like Taco Bell. I know, those of you sitting there going, ew, horrible Mexican, fake Mexican. And it is, but, sometimes that garbage is tasty. So I can't help it that I like it. Just like I was hearing a radio personality the other day, one of the DJs, that was just a fascinating thing to me, that he didn't like peanut butter. He loves peanuts, but he was explaining, like, there's literally nothing, the texture, the taste, the look, there's nothing about peanut butter that appeals to him, and I just can't comprehend that. And he loves peanuts, but peanut butter, he didn't say he was disgusted, but you could kind of tell the way he was talking that in essence was his reaction to it. And so anyway, so that's me and Taco Bell. So if you don't like it, I'm sorry, but I love it. And I love real Mexican, good authentic Mexican from a restaurant, and even a very local hole-in-the-wall type of restaurant that truly is authentic Mexican, which is a lot less, I don't know, flavorful might be the wrong, being a little too harsh of an explanation, but it really is. I mean, if you've had kind of authentic, plain Mexican soft tacos on tortillas, it's just kind of ground beef with minimal flavoring, and then
Recomputing. Never mind. I'll find a new route.
And then
Keep right.
Cheese and lettuce or something, and that's it. And
go straight on.
Basically the salsa is what gives you some flavor, but and some of that just ends up being the reality, and in those areas, is like it or not. The countries tend to be a little poorer. You don't have that ability to spend lavishly.
Keep left.
By their standards more than ours, where we look at it, here in the U.S. and say, oh, it's, an extra $1 or $2 for those ingredients. Well, if you're living at subsistence wages, that extra $1 or $2 is something that you may not be able to absorb, and so, in the local cuisine, then you don't have those things as standards. So yeah, I was going to say, I ended up, now that I think about it, not touching my lights at all of yesterday. So I didn't get a headlight violation, but once again, I ran all day with my headlights just because I frankly forgot to think about it. And it's visually not as obvious as it was in the pre 1.4 days of American Truck Simulator. So, sun coming up, Actually, quite a bit up already. You can see it up there near the top of the windshield. So, but anyway, we shall see how we go today, and if we're going to have to rest yet again before we deliver. But we know we don't have to get there till Sunday afternoon, so if we do have to rest, I mean, unless I know, hey, I'm already resting in New Mexico or something, I may take a peek of how far we've got and truly make sure that when I choose to rest, I'm not creating a problem for myself, but we'll see. So I was going to say, I think it should, I thought the speed limit went back up here to 70 shortly here. Ooh, I think that might have been a police officer. I don't know how he didn't flag me. Come on. Not gonna push it much longer, I guess, because I'm just tempting fate here, but I swear, once we got outside of price, I thought, and maybe it just jumps up to, alright, I'll drop down to 70, just so I'm not at risk of getting a speeding violation on top of my already clipping that truck with the boat. But anyway, so here we'll be getting on the interstate, I think, for that segment that gets us up to 80 miles an hour, and then we quickly get off again, but we'll see. So, oh boy, wow. I was expecting disaster there, but luckily with the lighter load, the braking took me down. I'm like, this is not good. I'm coming in way too fast. Whew. A little bit of pucker factor there, but anyway. Yes, so here we go. We're to the point where we can go 80, but this is the segment, if you recall, that really, like the next exit, we're getting off, and it's a little bit of an uphill incline the entire way, so we may not actually get to that point, although we are gathering speed relatively quickly here, so we'll see. Because, yeah, I think that road that's starting to show up right there, we exit on, so yeah, even here we're not gonna.
Right.
Yep.
And then exit right.
So there you go. So no, we are not going to get up to speed here.
Exit right.
And then we will head on down. And this is the segment again where we're headed toward Durango, and we're gonna go through Moab here by a hole in the rock. So, as we talked about, as any trucker in reality would be experiencing, you get to know the road you drive frequently pretty well. So, hopefully you're starting to remember it. Hopefully it's not anything different for you than it is for me. Just kind of part of the reality of what we're living as Bob Trucker goes about his business, and as you come along with me here and see what we see. But so as opposed to being, I want to see something different, that by watching Trucking Story, you've kind of bought into what we're trying to achieve here, and that is share with you American Truck Simulator through Trucking Story with decisions we made as how we're going to operate our little trucking empire here, which is be a contract long haul driver for this is that totally unhappy spot where the bridge gets tight, and again, luckily I avoided anything awful. But anyway, but the decisions that I clearly spelled out, that we'll be maximizing XP, not buying a truck and not kind of living that life until we get to fully unlock everything, where then I'm not having to make decisions on which truck do I get because what's unlocking for me the soonest, or do I want to wait a little further, that I've just kind of will have the world as my oyster at that point, and I'll be able to buy any make of truck and max it out. Because frankly, just again, like in real life, they do a good job here, and kind of having the sim run with that. It's cheaper to get a truck fully configured straight from the dealership than it is to buy something less and then upgrade. And then what we'll do is, we'll definitely max things out, and we have the benefit here. Probably what I do need to keep an eye out for, because that would be good, is the new Western Star 49X that came out in 1.4. Obviously, I've never driven that, so get to experience that. And it's got some different chassis configurations and so forth that were made available, along with a few other makes. I think have a few other changes too that let you take advantage of it, but this way we have that capability, and so it's probably worth taking a look as we get up to near 30 later on, to make sure that suddenly it's not like, oh, I have to go to 32 to fully unlock my chassis options or something. But I guess we'll see what we see when we get there. All right, and here's the viewpoint from Moab.
Keep right.
So that truck never moves. There's hole in the rock, the giant arrow pointing to it. I've, again, never been here in real life, so I can't give you any more information about hole in the rock than I'm assuming it's a hole in rock. Either that, or it's one of the biggest points of false advertising that I've ever seen on the road, where you've taken the time to get out on the side of this rock and paint hole in the rock and a giant arrow out there to point to solid rock. I don't know. I mean, that would seem weird, but I guess people have done crazier things. And maybe the gift shop there is, I was dumb enough to get fooled by a hole in the rock, and that's the t-shirts you can buy. I don't know, but can't find out in the game, and it's not on my agenda to go find out in real life anytime soon, so that will be a mystery that remains unsolved unless you choose to take action to solve it yourself. I will not be able to answer that for you. Not sure, that was like a little box delivery thing, but I'm like, was it like a food one, like chips? Or because first I thought, oh, it's FedEx, but as it flashed by, the color scheme was wrong, and then I was like, I wonder if it's like a Shearer's truck, which is a brand of snacks here, mainly potato chips and so forth, but I'm not sure. And here's our turn to the left. So you can see on the map very clearly, like, yes, we are wearing a rut in the proverbial road, or a proverbial rut in the road here, in this center part of the country, basically doing the same thing. And what I may do, just like when I talked about at the beginning, is I may go ahead and pull off at Longview at some point, get that discovered, and give us a few potential more options. But I think, once again, the way things are going, I think we've really almost found everything we're going to be able to utilize. Because everything in between right now is not something that would meet our criteria of maximizing XP. So,
Go straight on.
slow down a bit here. It's just so easy to get well over the speed limit when it's 25 or 30. Even in a truck that has slower acceleration. And then this again is the area that will drop back down to 30 again. So we're not going to speed up too much. It's going to prove me a liar. Okay, I guess this isn't the one. Maybe it's out of, I don't know where it is, because it's not out of Durango either now that I think about it. Either way, I don't know. Thought it was there, but clearly I was wrong. I haven't gotten flagged for speeding at that location anytime recently, so clearly I've forgotten exactly where it is, because in the beginning I certainly had it embedded in my brain, because it was quite irritating to get hit by a speeding camera there where it had gone up to 55, and just because for 2 blocks they lower it to 30 and can catch you, it was not a pleasant experience. Alright, so we've entered the great state of Colorado. Do our little corner near Durango, and then be heading on down into, I think, what would be our final state, unless I, again, don't recall if we'll go through some of Arizona to get there, or do we just dip immediately into New Mexico? I think we're immediately into New Mexico, but
Go straight on.
You won't let me go anywhere but straight on, but thanks for going with the sim and pretending that since there is a crossroad there, that I have a choice. But obviously, as you can see from the route advisor, I really don't. And here we have one of the inevitable slow cars that the AI sometimes spawns. Oh, are we going to stay within a passing zone? I doubt it. I'm sure right around this turn it's going to go yellow again. Yep. And I think we may be in town here, so we may have to slow down anyway. Yep, 55. So, and now we're going to get flagged into this wonderful rest area that we love. Just wait. Yep. Great.
Keep left.
So
And then turn left.
now we get to go do that little drive down where I could have cut across, but didn't. I don't know. This time when I leave, I may just stay left and go around the other way, because I don't need to come up here. We have discovered that segment of road, and that'll get me going. I think I've gone the other way as well, so I don't know that it really gets me anything, but just eliminates the frustration of having gotten flagged and then coming back up and basically feeling like I'm doubling back. So yes, I think, well, here it tells me normally when we leave to turn left. I normally ignore it, but this time I'll follow it. If nothing else, then for variety.
Go
So,
straight on.
come on. I knew it was going to do that to me and get me close. I just don't like that overly aggressive stopping of the AI when it's turning right. When it's turning, period. I mean, it does it left or right, honestly. But good news is, yeah, he turned, so I don't have to worry about him doing anything completely unreal. And yeah, this has been a way station we are intimately familiar with, as you know. Because this has probably certainly hit the 60% way station metric, where I would say definitely half or more of the time we have had to pull into this one. So you, just as I, am very familiar with this a little bit here. But no, the good news is, yeah, we're at level 16. So as far as like having to make a decision then, you know, I'm really kind of, I don't know, I guess trying to, oh no, I think he's going to have me go left.
Turn right.
Oh, all right. I guess we'll follow it this time, because maybe getting to Socorro, turning left isn't a good option. I just hate coming out of here, because see, even with that, and I hit that thing anyway and got trailer damage, unbelievable. I don't have that long of a load.
Turn left.
I mean, there's no way to come out of there and turn right without running the risk of, you know, someone coming the other way and running into things. Oh, okay. I've lost my position. This is where. There's no other way to go there but right. I was just stupid. I thought we were here already and it had me turn right. So anyway, I am now going left like it said. And then we'll go from there. So, you know, this is that place where there's the casino, that if we're coming up the other way, it's kind of the first thing you see after being in desert for quite a while. So that is where we are at. I was going to say, I think there's a, oh no, I guess there isn't a light here. So we will continue on, and now we're at least able to get up to speed. So we'll move along here. Bit of winery traffic on our route today that we've seen from both directions. So,
Straight on.
but you know, you never know. Just that time of year, I guess, where they've got to haul more equipment or finished product from the winery and get it back, you know, whatever it is. But so yeah, we'll head this way. And you know, it's definitely a different route going this way, but nothing we haven't been on. As you can see, we're not hitting any undiscovered segment, and now, you know, we're turning left, which if we had gone right out of the other direction, you know, it then would have taken us kind of this way toward the east, you know, and we're just coming into Farmington from the west side instead of kind of more the north side, I think. But so we'll see how we continue. And just past noon here, and the big mystery right now is, will we need to rest again before we deliver this boat? Let me take a look. Alright, we have no damage to the actual boat. You can see 0% on the cargo there. Even though the trailer has 4% damage because of running into that stupid guardrail at the way station. But anyway. Just not happy today. But
keep right,
whoops.
and then turn right.
Maybe we haven't gone through this area. Interesting. But we'll do what it's telling us to do. If for no other reason, then I see it's the truck bypass of Farmington. The truck bypass that we're going to have to stop and then turn on red for. So yeah, I guess we haven't gone through this segment of Farmington, which is good, because it is a loop that is common depending on which way you're headed. So and do I need to, yeah. As hard to tell if the lights are
Go
red
straight on.
sometimes until you're almost on top of them, but obviously I could see the traffic moving. See that Walmart truck? There's nothing in the left lane. There's like literally no reason that he needed to be cautious and come to a full stop there, other than it just, kind of messes with traffic. Because again, now this guy's clearing the intersection late. At least he didn't stop again and then cause us even further delay. But all right, so I'm going to try to have the thought I've been trying to have since we left the way station that keeps running through my head, but then I don't articulate because something else happens that I talk about instead. So no, I'm trying to actually, I don't know that I would say it's intentionally, but I've not really thought about what I'll do when I get to the point that I've agreed to, in my life choice as Bob Trucker, of finally looking at becoming an owner-operator once I hit level 30 in experience, what that will mean. Like, will I still try to maximize my distance and my XP, or at that point, will it be like, hey, now I've got my own truck, I'm going to just travel and take short loads here and there that make it more interesting for me and just get more exploration. I really don't know, and I'm trying to kind of make it so that decision gets made when we get there, perhaps even together, depending on what the subscriber world looks like at that point. If I've got enough people on and people are commenting and start to say, hey, yeah, we want to see a lot more of the map, we want to do short runs. Oh, look at that, got a Volvo dealer. I don't know if that's our first one or not for that. Again, not a make that I would normally consider, but just like anything, it's always nice to have the option to say no than to not have the option at all. So I do know that I haven't discovered all 7 of the manufacturers for certain, and so that's potentially going to be one of the goals as we get closer to the point of becoming that owner-operator. So you can see the road. I'm sorry, I'll digress again. To the left, that is where we would normally have come down if we had gone
And then turn
the
back.
other way out of the way station. That's where we then take that short little jaunt back to this road, but
Turn right.
this is how it gets us there from the other direction. So, but yeah, if there's people are on and enjoying the channel and giving me feedback, certainly the goal would be at that point to kind of try to do things that the audience finds interesting, because the goal wouldn't be to lose the audience at that point, but right now, probably like any new channel, we're not getting a lot of interest. Probably, who knows why. It could simply be because people have tuned in and not seen what they want to see, and if nobody's commenting, I don't know what I could change. I certainly can speculate that I do understand that what I've chosen to do here is not for everybody. We're obviously going to be driving this, probably realistically for another 20 episodes, going down the same stretch of road over and over and over again, just, with different cargo behind us, having similar ranting dialogue that really doesn't talk about anything. And eventually that can get dull, that can get boring, similar to watching anybody do any kind of a game. When you're watching it, I mean, it's different when you're doing it like I am, where I'm an active participant in driving the truck, than it is just sitting on your couch or wherever you are when you watch these videos, just watching. And it obviously is a little more dull. And it is what it is, I guess. I've kind of made the decision, and at this point, until I have other feedback, I mean, what I may do in the future is, truly if people are like, hey, yeah, we'd like to watch a video diary in American Truck Simulator, but, this is what we want in it. Maybe I'd start another series. I'm certainly not opposed to that. I certainly enjoy making the videos and putting them out there for folks to have the opportunity to enjoy them, because it really doesn't take much more effort than me just sitting here and playing myself. And so if I can spread joy in the world by giving folks something that maybe they even just play in the background and peek up at once every 5 minutes and see, oh, where is he? Hey, it's something I can do to add joy into the world. So I'm happy to do that. But it also leads to stuff like this where I don't really have anything to talk about, and I'm just trying to fill airtime, because we're only in New Mexico or Colorado at this point, and we've still got another 30 minutes to go or whatever. And then the reality of just kind of what I said, I'm going to have another 20 plus of these that are going to be similar, just, with different cargo behind us, and, obviously different, things that can happen with traffic doing something crazy or whatever. And me continuing to talk about, nothing, which is why, really it's become a little bit more of, hey, here's what's happened, here's what's been announced in the game, so forth and so on. I mean, I didn't take a look at it yet, but I did see when I signed on this morning that they did add a news bite about Jackson Hole, Wyoming. So my hope is, now that they've announced, and Iberia, I guess, is officially being released on Steam on April 8th. So just before next weekend, but they had the trailer that dropped and said, hey, it's here. I was surprised to see you couldn't get it, because I think it did say available on Steam, available now on Steam, but I'm assuming they're simply like, hey, the trailer's going to be out there forever, and it'll be true more than it will be false. But right now, for the segment of a week before they actually release it, it's actually a lie in the video, because it's not available on Steam. It's simply announced on Steam that it will be dropping on the 8th. But hope is now that, Iberia is done. That means Wyoming's coming shortly. I understand that in reality it's probably completely different teams. It's not like it's the same group, but, at some level there may be some overlap where, at management and the release team, whoever goes through the process of getting it out on Steam and packaging it up and compiling the final code and getting it there for download, that may be one group, because I don't know why you'd need separate groups for just publishing it out and making it available for sale. So yeah, if they've been focused on Iberia, obviously they're not able to do anything else until they finish with that. So the hope is that maybe we'll see Wyoming in April. That would be awesome, but don't know if that'll happen, because for a while I thought we'd see Wyoming in March, and obviously that didn't happen. So, and, as I think I shared just in the last episode, Texas will be the first full cycle I'll have in the SCS universe, from initial announcement to final release, and see what that's like. And I already know from what they've explained that Texas is going to be a longer cycle than normal. But even now, like, Wyoming was announced when I started playing the game in December, and so it had already been publicized, and I knew it was coming when I joined the community. And here we are, over 3 months later, and Wyoming still has not been delivered and to us as customers. So I clearly know it's at least a 3-month window, but obviously that, I knew that before I lived it, because there's no way that they can get these packages done that quickly. But I felt once they started, hey, here are industries, here are rest stops, and they were doing, what I would say, strangely specific news announcements, and now we're getting down to like specific key cities. Oh, geez, what are you doing? Wow, exactly what I meant. So stuff like that, we always have to look forward to in these journeys together, where it's like, hey, is Bob Trucker going to be able to avoid killing a family of 4 in their SUV that just pulled over and stopped? But anyway, so there's I think, Albuquerque viewpoint, which basically, that one I have stopped at in another profile when I was beta testing this version. And yeah, it basically shows you this interchange from all kinds of angles. So as far as viewpoints go, I would say that one is honestly the weirdest and most disappointing. Again, we've not gone this way. We're getting new discoveries of roads, so that's nice. If I remember, we'll take a look at the map when we are ending and see what percent we've discovered at this point in our journey as Bob Trucker. I don't remember what I was talking about before I talked about percent of discovery, so sorry. Again, the reality of just talking as you're going and recording it in real time is, it's not scripted out. Sometimes things get missed, so maybe it'll come to me and I'll be like, oh yeah. Because I know I was talking about the releases and so forth, and yeah, I guess I was saying that, now they've got Jackson Hole, and I would assume all these things mean we're getting really close to the release. But like any state, I'm sure there's 7 or 8 cities they can cover if they want. Certainly Cheyenne, the capital, and Maine. So I think it's the capital. Now I'm worried I'm going to sound like an idiot. People will be like, Cheyenne's not the capital of Wyoming, but I think it is. It's certainly one of the larger cities, I know that, and so I'm assuming at some point that will be one of the cities they talk about. But it's not like I've seen on the Eurotruck side, because once you're kind of on the list for SCS, like you get notified of everything they're posting. So it's not like I've seen them posting news about cities in Iberia. So like I don't even have a point of reference. So let's see. All right, Socorro. So we're here, or we're headed toward here. So, and the good news is maybe. Oh, there's the waypoint already. Oh, and we haven't discovered Socorro. So the good news, which is what I was hoping, is we will then have the opportunity to haul from here, because we can obviously go in the opposite direction and take things from here to Port Angeles. So the good news is at least we are still getting some expansion of our world for Bob Trucker here, and to remove some of the monotony that we're all experiencing together. But yeah, you've got a Walmart, you've got a Whole Foods, so we've got those 2 places, and the Walmart looks like it's a distribution center. So that's actually really good news to have discovered Socorro for that purpose, because yeah, the distribution centers will let ship all kinds of things. So and it looks like we've got 2 more, because obviously we've got the BNSF rail yard that we're delivering to, but I think off to the left we've either got a Centex There's certainly some kind of a logo there. So, yeah, at this point, at a minimum, it looks like we've got 4 potential new customers we can haul for here. Yeah, so that does look like a Centex up on the sign. So yeah, we got building supplies, we got
Turn right, and then turn
all
left.
kinds of things from a distribution center. We've got, whoops,
Turn left.
The Home Depot, I think, was the other one. Now I'm like losing my mind because I'm talking, driving, trying to pay attention. And this will be one of the harder parking jobs because I think this is that small yard.
We are
And
finished.
we're going to have to park it around the pile of stuff, yes. So we've been here before to things like this, so I'm going to just go this way. But yeah, right on the rail line, which makes sense given that it's BNSF. I was going to say, my guess is we're going to be a little over a couple hours on this video because I don't think this is going to be a quick parking job. But again, it's a boat, so it may surprise me, but I'm not going to hold my breath. So let's see. Sorry, I'm just focused on what I am doing. But, alright, so I think I've gotten what I need there. Alright, I'm going to look around here. Because I just need to make sure. Yes, it is back there. I just was worried it was behind that building, and then obviously once I start to commit here to where I'm going, it just is more irritating and a bigger waste of time if I suddenly am like, oh, I'm not going that way. Because obviously if I had to go in the other direction, I'm going in reverse, so I'm going to get left and right messed up. So I'm not going to pretend that I know which direction it is. Alright, I'm going to turn this set of mirrors off because right now all it's doing is, I can leave that one on, but yeah, if I had to go the opposite direction, suddenly it'd be like, well, gee, this was a giant waste of time. Not sure. I don't know that I could have cut it any sharper, so maybe this is the best I could have done. I think I'm still going to have to jiggle a bit here because I don't know that I'm going to be able to clear that wall. Good news is it does look like I've gotten, maybe I did. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm still going to have to pull forward, but it's actually better than I thought because I've at least gotten around those tanks. So, yeah, I think I'm going to hit something right now, so I can't do that. So, let's see. Let's see what we can do here. And, which way do I want to go? So, at a minimum, I think I'm still going to have to pull forward again, but I want to at least get this trailer moving in the right direction. I think I've just hit the tanks. Yep. Alright. Goodness gracious. Yeah, these are tough when they're tucked up against things because you're trying to get the angles, but they're not the easiest angles to get, frankly. Whoops, wrong way. That never helps. Just a giant waste of time again. I just don't know that there's enough room to maneuver around here. So I think I almost want to just get back. Far enough that then I can just pull forward. Because, yeah, I'm not going to be able to get the angle I need. But if I can at least get back far enough. Oh, I guess I hit something because I just did more trailer damage. So I must have hit those pipes behind me. But the good news is now I'm going to be able to get really close here in where we need to be. So that is a good sign. No, I want to go this way, but man, I can't. I said it was good news, but now I'm not sure it is. Because, yeah, I need to have enough room to maneuver here. Goodness gracious. This is one of those where I'm like, I am just going to make this because I am. Alright. So I'm going to, let's see. So what I need to do is actually pull this way a bit so that I have some room to do what I need to do. Because, yeah, I need to really go this way. And that's what I didn't have room to do before. Alright, and then I can go that way. And now I think I might be too close to the wall there. I guess we'll see. Alright. Sometimes when you're tucked up against the wall, that's just the reality of what you've got. You've got to get in there at a really weird angle. So, almost 2,500 XP. The proficiency bonus keeps going up again. I believe, this is pretty much a percent. So 16% of our cost, which you can see, 10% would be about 3,700. So, we're getting there. Obviously, we've got a lot of other ranks, but we've gone from 16, we've gone up to 17 again because, we've gained almost 5,000 XP, 4,800, and at this point we're really still like, right now we've got 1,200 next to go up the next time. So, but yeah, the range at this point is about 3,500 or something. But we are going to hit as we get into like the mid-20s, where it's going to be 6,000 or 7,000 to go ahead and level, and then it becomes more difficult. So, I'm going to increase our JIT since we kind of keep taking those. Again, it's not going to help our XP in any way. Yeah, but you can see, we've got paint. Here we've got some chassis configurations. So the Western Star here, you can see we've got some 6x4s, which is, the one that really was getting some additions. Volvo that we had just discovered. Looks like we could get a long chassis with a 300-gallon tank, which is nice. Same thing with the Kenworth. We've got, the T680 and the W900 with 300-gallon options. The Freightliner really didn't give us any capabilities here. Not sure that I'm really going to even get into doing anything with trailers. I've not found a whole lot of value in that. So let me pull up the map that we talked about. Alright, 16.83% is what we've done. I'm not quite sure why this is not Oh, I see. It's like throwing us back in St. George. I'm like, I don't understand why we're not having that discovered. But yeah, we're not leaving from our garage. We get sent to the jobs right away. So once again, we're sitting here an entrepreneur, having gone through Workhorse, and heading up. And at some point, we stop every 5 levels, changing the type of driver we are, and it starts expanding as well. So, but we've just crossed 300,000 this time in our total money in the bank. So we're definitely in a great spot when we get there to be able to buy a truck and maybe even buy some garages and so forth. But like I said, I'll more think about what we're going to do, just as Bob Trucker is going to do in real life. When we get there, we'll worry about what we're going to do with our business. So thank you for joining us for Trucking Story. We'll see you next time.